Hey, good evening. Yeah, no, wait a minute. There it is. We're live on Facebook and on Boogie with a Bull YouTube channel. On Facebook, we're live on the David Wolfman profile and the Boogie with a Bull True Patriot Talk group. And on YouTube, like I said, we're live on the Boogie with a Bull YouTube channel. So come on in and tell us what's new and exciting in your life as we try to tell you what is new and exciting in our life. Let's see, at last count, 36 hours of Facebook restrictions is working toward 365 days of Facebook restrictions, and I haven't quite yet gotten there yet. Uh, for those keeping score, I did in fact win the copyright violation case only because I told them flat out that I refused to do their work for them. That if they wanted to nail me for a copyright violation, it's their job to tell me which broadcast and what material on the broadcast, and they refused to do that. So this morning around 7 a.m., they sent me an email that said because I wasn't cooperating, they decided that they would consider the case closed with content removed. And the only thing I can tell them that is the content removed. Jerry went out. He will be right back. Content removed for them means that it looks like either Facebook removed whatever content they were complaining about and will then repost the broadcast, or they didn't and they won't repost the broadcast. I'm hoping they just don't repost the broadcast. It's just not worth fighting it with them anymore. But what's new and exciting in Genland?
I don't think it's new and exciting. I was just, I was excited to talk about something very old, and that is the mythology. It's like Roman and Greek, but this is specifically from the Greeks. And what I wanted to talk about was shapeshifters.
Shape
Shifters.
shifters.
And I get, yeah, there's like four main ones and they're still around. And what they are is they're people who are possessed with this demon. I don't know. It's a reptilian thing that causes, they call you a shapeshifter and your eyes like go reptilian. Like your pupils aren't round, they turn into like slits.
I have to apologize that usually you send fantastic notes about what you want to talk about. And you had said something about shapeshifters. And then I was breezing through really fast. I apologize because I was on the phone and someone was actually yelling at me for a change. And I was trying to pay attention, but my eyes caught the word reptilian. And that's one of my favorite words from doing broadcasts with like Michael Anthony and a whole lot of other people, that every time they talk about reptilians, I want to hear all I can about them. Because they, from what I understand, they live underground. They never come out. There's been videos that have shown like beautiful underground cities that they have, and I don't know if it's true because I don't know anyone who's ever been down there, but I am just like, I'm going to be quiet, turn my mic off, and let you talk about the reptilians. Welcome back, Jerry.
Hi, Jerry. Awesome. Okay, so good right. Now.
Good.
Okay, so I wanted to talk about these Greek this Greek mythology. This breed is called shapeshifters, and people are noticing them more and more, like in the public today, and that's crazy because these things are like Greek mythology. I mean, they're like from the Dark Ages, before like in the 1100s. But anyhow, I guess this one that's even in Homer's books, the Odyssey, and the second one, I don't know, what is it? The Iliad? I don't even know. I think they told us about it in high school, but I did not read them. Anyhow, they talk. Elliot. Awesome. That's it. And they talk about this character in there. What were you going to say? Okay, Proteus. And this is like the sea god who's constantly changing. He's always changing form and he answers no questions. And I was like, oh my God, you know who that sounds like? I don't even have to say it, but yeah, we blew his cover. It's not Biden because I read that it says in the Odyssey, um, this Proteus of Egypt, he was an immortal man of the sea who never lies. And I'm like, oh, nope, it's not Biden. So we're supposed to believe this one shapeshifter Proteus, but watch Biden's eyes. They say watch everyone's eyes because you can tell that's when you can see the shape shifting. And it's the shifting of their eyes. They turn from like round pupils to reptilian pupils and they're like slits. Well, anyways, they haven't, I don't know if they've seen it in Biden yet, but I don't know what color his eyes are. I've seen them blue, I've seen them brown, and I've seen them just black holes. So who knows what's going on in there? But they're saying the most famous shapeshifter, and they catch this every time they have King Charles on video, watch his eyes. I guess they say that, and I don't know which Greek god they said he was, but wow, his eyes do switch. They flip a lot, and he's even been seen having scale-like skin on the outside of his eyes. It's crazy. There are some other people who have had that, such as Britney Spears, who I kind of like her singing, and I thought she's been through enough already. But wow, they said she's had the shape shifting eyes. And let's see who else is in here. Oh, a lot of congressmen have this. And oh, the next thing they're talking about is how these ancient Greek mythology gods are affecting us today and how these spirits, even if we don't see it in the person, the shapeshifter, the things in Washington that represent these gods, like the Twin Towers is after the twins. Let's see, one is named Apollio, or what was the other name? Apollyon, and then his sister is Artemis. Now, Apollyon, the one tower that had this tall antenna on top of it, I guess that was a phallic symbol. And when it fell, I don't know what they replaced that one with, but they have a memorial for that, probably another antenna. And then the one for Artemis, the sister twin, is a gaping hole. There, I've never heard of a monument to symbolize anything that was just a hole in the ground. It's a square hole and it goes to nowhere. So, of course, all the religious people are saying, oh, it's a gate to hell. Really? And so I don't know, but it's a gaping hole, and that's supposed to be the feminine symbol for Artemis. And let's see, what are the other ones here? It was crazy. I guess the Washington Monument, that big obelisk, or the big pointy white thing, that's a phallic symbol. And all of these things just go back to Greek mythology, and it's scary. I'm not making it up, Jerry. I know you're laughing. It's ridiculous. What? No, they do. And
No. It's the big pointy white thing that I was laughing at. That's all.
sorry. But yeah,
Well, that big pointy white thing is a sign in Washington, D.C. Don't sit here.
Oh gosh. No kidding.
If you're going to take over the United States, don't climb the monument and sit here.
Even the Statue of Liberty.
When I was in the Marine Corps station in Washington, I used to run from the barracks to the big pointy white thing and back, and that was 6 miles back when I could run and move and still breathe and not have a massive stroke, that kind of thing.
Don't have a massive stroke, please.
Yeah, please don't do that.
We haven't paid our healthcare premiums for Boogie with the Bull this month yet.
Man. Well, anyways, even the face on the Statue of Liberty, it's not a woman. It's a man, and it's the same man that's a shapeshifter. It's the face that's on Proteus. And I mean, I always thought she was kind of ugly, but wow, that's why it's man face. But then it goes deeper and deeper, and everything in that whole city is symbolism. Everything they do, every name, it's creepy. Like even around, it's always around the royalty. Oh, thank you, thank you. The royalty
Make mine a double, Jesse.
it's a it's a slushy from Taco Bell. They have strawberry whip, which means they put some kind of whipped cream in it. I don't know. But anyhow, they're even saying the symbolism that goes all the way down to it's from Buckingham Palace and how we're affected by it in DC. But in their symbolism, when they would talk about Snow White, that was a reference to Barbara Bush. And what's really creepy about the whole Barbara Bush thing is they're saying that what's so funny is when I saw George Bush up there next to Barbara, I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. His mom is with him. And Jesse's like, it's not his mom, this is his wife. This is like back in the day. And so, anyways, she is in this whole thing is all occultic and it's all pre-planned. Everything that's happening, they know what's going on. It's all like rituals. And anyhow, they're saying that she's a man, and that she really is not who we think she is. They're saying Barbara Bush is a man. And I'm like, I don't know. Did you wouldn't know? I don't know. Did Barbara and George Bush have any children that you recall? I don't remember. I know that Lauren Bush and
Barbara and George Bush Sr.?
yeah, who did they have? They had a little
They had
Bush
George
guy.
Jr., they
Yeah.
had Jeb Bush, former
They had
governor of
Wilner.
Florida, who fortunately
Yeah.
didn't make it to the White House. And I think there is there a daughter, Michael? Or is it just the two sons?
Two sons, and there is the one granddaughter works on the morning show.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's good. I just
No, she's
hear this.
definitely a female.
But there's been questions about paternity of kids in Washington for years. That they say that Webb Hubble is Chelsea Clinton's father, and
Right.
that Webb and Hillary worked at the Rose Law Firm together. They say that God, there was another one. They
Yeah,
say
there
that
was a swing
they
fest
say that the
going on.
Obama children are not biologically the Obama children.
They're
They're
Nesbits. Their
they're-
last name is Nesbits.
they're
They
somebody else's kids. I don't know how they got to the Obamas. You might know, Michael. But
Well,
that would
Rothschilds are the Ossinis.
okay. But that would also further the talk that Michael is not Michelle. And evidently Barack Obama's brother Malik was on a reel today on Facebook saying that I guess the writer who wrote the book that made the movie about Michelle Obama is releasing the movie today, or it might have been an old reel that the movie has been released, and said that we all should go see it.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
I wonder.
Isn't it so strange?
I was bored, and there are no good Michael Anthony reels today to watch, so I had to watch everything else. But
So what's your topics? It's all about transphobia.
well, no,
No.
Jen wanted to bring up shapeshifters and Greek mythology related to that, and then I just kind of figured we'd flow from.
Well, in a way, aren't they shapeshifters? Transgenders? I mean, when you really think about it, I think that's probably part of the ideology of what they try to protect.
It certainly is shifting one's shape.
Yeah.
It makes better sense. Yeah, what they were specifically talking about, the shape shifting, were the eyeballs. I think we talked about this on your show once before. Yeah, the reptilians. And I guess that some of these people even show scales around their eyes. They'll have scales and they touch it to make it go away. They're like, oh my gosh, I'm showing. it's crazy how many people in Congress and higher up positions are shapeshifters or like possessed by this reptilian spirit. It's
Now,
terrifying, but it does explain a lot. And I was talking to Dave about this big one, who was the sea god. His name is Proteus, and his biggest thing is that he's constantly changes form and he always avoids answering questions. And I thought for sure, oh my gosh, that's the shapeshifter that took over Biden. And then if you go on and read, it talks about them talking about this Proteus in the Odyssey by Homer, and it says that he's an immortal old man. Um, he's in charge of the sea and he'll never lie. And I'm like, oh no, he's not in Biden. That's somebody else. But
Well, that's where Neptune and Hercules and all the other tall tale mythological come into play. Important, I think, always to keep an open mind to the facts that we're always told ahead of time. So there's truth behind all the mythology. It's how does the bloodlines connect? And when you go into the Bible, everybody's related. There's a bloodline to everybody with a name through the Bible. Same when you go to King Neptune, the true commander of what they call the sea, which was the head of the Anunnaki. So, like, you can go into these mythological stories where you have, the father, and then you have sons, and then they divide up lands, and that's kind of how it all really pans out and works out. I can't think of the one guy's name off the top of my head. It's a mythological name. You guys would know it in a heartbeat, but that's kind of the story of what the Anunnaki have always been and who they are. And they were just giving you a landscape of an explanation. So we're learning it from a different perspective, but we've always been learning sides of the other narrative. But it doesn't give us conclusive information or evidence to fact, except for the fact, do your research and try to connect the dots.
Now, my question that I want to ask you, Michael, because you're probably the only one of the four of us that might actually know, are they just coexisting with us through all the time that there have been humans on Earth, or are they an advanced race that was here before we got here? Did God create the Earth and give it to the reptilians, and at some point tadpoles, what's that word, evolved into people?
No one truly knows when you go back into the ancient archives who did what and how we got here and how we began. There's speculation, but there's no fact. But we do know how certain creations of humanity occurred. That's right in the Emerald Tablets and some of the ancient texts where, these people from another planet called planet Nibiru came here, which were the Anunnaki, and they were the ones, two brothers and a sister came here, and they figured out how to, play with the strands of DNA to create workers. They were tired of working after like 250,000 years, collecting this gold, which wasn't really the element of hard gold. It's a different type of gold. They were shooting it into the atmosphere because they were burning up, their planet was burning up, and they were trying to deflect it. So when you go back and you look at this is the same bullshit they're pulling on us now, except they're using barium and strontium and aluminum and all these other nanoparticles, reflected particles. And they're all dangerous to our health. The same as became for them. They were poisoning their own atmosphere, thinking they were fixing it, and they weren't. So they left, but they didn't take all with them. They did leave what they called the 10 kings.
That's a good point. And those are the 10 kings that are still setting up their principalities on the earth in various places. Is that what you're telling us?
Well, that's how the bloodlines work. And there's more than one bloodline. It's not just one bloodline. There's cross bloodlines. I mean, look when you go over and you look at Prince Charles, King Charles, whatever, and London Bridge is fallen. She wasn't even blood to the bloodline.
Right. Oh, wow.
She was a half-breed. That's where the term half-breed actually come into play. She was the youngest queen ever placed to rule over this planet.
Wow.
I mean, what I'm saying is basically a lot of the information that people overlook, but it's there. I'm not anybody special that knows anything any more than anybody else, But I mean, when you do go down this yellow brick road, so to speak, you find how it collaborates, it fits, and it truly does. And they know we know. They know we know because I've been attacked on a lot of my posts on America Disclosing Uncensored, where I put that content and they remove it. If I go on a page that represents blue, I can call Trump anything I want in the world, have somebody else turn me in for my comments, and they never find anything wrong with my comment. But if it was reversed, immediately there's a suspension or some type of determination. So what works for them is
Wow.
to do everything that, please go try it. You'll see.
Right.
I've done it several times just to make sure it wasn't a fluke. If we were to jump sides and double down on Trump all day long, an America Rebellion and American Crisis and Boogie with the Bull, as hard as we wanted, and we had other people turn us in as an experiment, they'll say there's nothing wrong with the comment. We find nothing,
Yeah. I'd never get a copyright violation again, and all these companies that threaten me would be sending me their video and begging me to post their stuff. You're 100% right. You're 100% right. But Larry Burns asked a question in the comments. He said, "Leftist." Let me put it up on the screen so I can read it.
I don't have comments tonight. I don't know why. They're not.
Says leftists are the new 1930 European Jews. And then he asked me how that statement makes me feel. And I'm supposed to be honest. But Larry, to be honest with you, it really doesn't bother me, only because the 1930s European Jews, my great-grandfather, his 10 sons, his daughter, his second wife, I believe, they were already here. The sapper stones on the other side that became stones were already living on the cobblestones in Boston. And, so I don't know. And to most people that know me, I'm the exception to the rule. I'm Jewish. I'm not wealthy. I don't own a media company. And that's all I can tell you.
But Dave, I mean, I'm not trying to go out of the way here, but how are you Jewish?
How am I Jewish?
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Wait. Who gave you that title or land?
God says that a true Jew is a Jew born of a Jewish mother. My mother was raised an Orthodox Jew by her parents who were Orthodox Jews. My father is the youngest of their 3 children my grandfather was an Orthodox Jew. My grandmother was an Orthodox Jew. She kept a very Orthodox home.
Tell me where the origin comes from, Dave. That's what I'm asking.
Well, I don't know where the sapper stones.
Where you lived?
I don't know where the sapper stones came from, and most of them, like I said, became stones, and they were born in the United States. The last 2 or 3 generations. The Glovinskys came from what was known as Prussia, which for all of you history majors means that they were within miles of the Russia-Poland border, which kept changing all the time. And I guess when they left Russia on their own, they were not deported or whatever. When they left Russia to come to the States, they declared themselves as being Jewish.
Well, you're just a countryman is all that means. Listen, Polish comes from Poland. Croatian. Here, it's all entitlement between borderlines. That's all it is. It doesn't mean you're anything different, but you practice something that was semi-different, and it created a different type of attention, and you had different type of religious belief, just like paganism and Catholic and so on. It doesn't make you different from any one of us.
It doesn't make me different from anybody.
The trait of the bloodline.
It doesn't make me different from anybody. It doesn't make me better.
You're not Jewish, is what I'm saying. You're a title.
Anybody. Well,
where is Randy Rhodes when you need him?
I guess what I am is I'm Dave Glovin, and I've been Dave Glovin for 61 years, and I formed opinions and beliefs and followed traditions that seem to make sense to me based on the Torah, which I guess was the history book before the Bible, the half Torah, which I don't really understand what it is. I don't know if it was just half the Torah, special portions of the Torah. I know at my bar mitzvah, I had you read a passage from both. The half Torah portion was in English, and I had to learn the, I don't know, I think it was paragraph in the, I had to learn that in Hebrew and understand it and be able to speak it when I was bar mitzvah, which is the ceremony that confirms a 13-year-old Jew becoming a man, because back then, at 13 you were a man, at 15 you had kids, you were married and you had kids, and at 26 you were probably dead.
Well, you may be right. Maybe that's why they marry so young, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. It wasn't uncommon.
Yeah.
And adults mainly married the children if there wasn't another children's suitor for one or the other that was in need.
I got to throw a question at you. Adam and Eve came to Earth with the job of making babies that would one day grow up and become the people of Earth. So does that mean that ultimately you have to trace everybody back to Adam and Eve? Does that mean that we're just one big incestuous family?
They're all inbred.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much, no matter how you look at it.
Okay.
I mean, look, if we go back to the biblical content of the flood and the boat, and we know truthfully that other people did manage to make it, but it only reflects to a story that is mismanaged by a machine, that the early machines, on how they wanted the narrative to be dictated out to the public so people would fall to it. And like when I bring up the Catholic religion, when you hear of such satanic practices in that religion, just by saying, this is the cup of my blood, drink from it. Why would a satanic reference be put into something of light and religion and God and beauty and, ever fulfilling?
That and the cookie or the cracker, that and the cracker being told, this is my body. I guess.
Well, you know what I'm saying.
No. I understand, but I'm saying that those two things never made. I didn't understand, unless maybe that's how you were pledging yourself to Jesus, and that's part of Christianity. Whereas, I guess I'm Jewish because God had 10 rules, and my ancestors decided they were great and we should follow them. And through the generations of Saperstones and Glovinskis down to Dave Glovin, it seemed to make sense. And he's always been there, honor me, honor thy mother, honor thy father. If you do all that good stuff, if you honor everybody, I will.
Rules.
Right, but if you do
obey,
if you obey in a way that treats everybody equal, and you try to help everybody that you can, then at some point you're going to be invited back to eternal life. Heaven.
If you comply, that was the promise.
But what I don't understand is
get that promise.
But what I don't understand
to the church to get that promise. Only they could guarantee you that trip to heaven. if you called upon them to do so.
But weren't we all in heaven before we picked our parents and we shot the tunnel and we came down here? And if that,
I don't know, but I can confirm the tunnel part.
And some people believe that, and my belief at 61, and I won't be able to ask God until I get there and find out whether or not there is a God. And I have my 30 minutes to have him on a Boogie with a Bull broadcast. If life was so great up there, then why did we have to come down here? Go ahead, Jerry.
Yeah, please, Jerry.
Jerry, you have the floor. Tell us, please.
Okay. I
think.
On another note, did you hear?
I don't know. I was born under a rock, so I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
Did you hear about the Rothschilds? One of the last Rothschilds' grandsons was living on an island with cannibals, and he was like so defiant. He would be fine. They were his friends. And anyways, he what was it? The Rothschilds sent someone out to pick him up and take him home, and they were in this boat, just him and his friend with 2 other scouts, and it was taking forever. So he swam back to the island because he thought they would like honor him and welcome him back, and they ate him. And I think the 2 scouts actually, and his buddy went with him, but the 2 scouts who waited in the boat were actually rescued. And I don't know which island it was, but my oldest son was, hi, Nikki. My oldest son was telling me about it. And I thought, oh my gosh, is that the end of the Rothschild line? Or are they still, did you hear about that story? Or maybe there's more Rothschild men out there. But it happened like 10 years ago.
Yeah,
they made
me
family.
But I don't know any of the
only thing I would guess, though, that if the Rothschild grew up on that island or had lived there among them long enough, and then he left, and
he thought he was respected, but when he left, he came back. He came back. He smelled different. It's like we used to have 2 cats. We had 4 cats when we lived in Connecticut, and the front door could blow open. And only 2 cats, when the door blew open, they would take off. The other 2, you could set the house on fire behind them. They weren't leaving. They weren't leaving. They knew where their home was. And when the other 2 came back, the 2 that never left would beat the crap out of them because they smelled different. Wow.
They weren't home. They were out someplace else. So I'm wondering if when Rothschild, who had been among these people for so long, and was a friend of them, when he left, he came back, and maybe he proved to them that you could leave the island and come back, because most of those people on that island were probably raised. You can never leave this island. You can never go. There's no place else to go. This is this is the world. Like Nemo swam over the dam, and goodbye. That's it. I did want to throw one question at Michael, talking about shapeshifters and reptilians and all. Could Bigfoot be a shapeshifter? Could Bigfoot be a reptilian?
I don't think
could be elemental, but I'll tell you, Melba Ketchup just put on a formal statement. This is the young lady who does all the DNA studies. And she says she finally has been able to come up with a conclusive. We knew that there was human, but an unknown with human to the samples that were found. And she's holding us on a little bit of a string.
Of course.
She says your minds will be blown. And I guess she'll be doing her formal release in the next couple of days. I just posted that actually about an hour and a half ago in America Disclosing. So that just came out. We're going to get to the bottom of what people think. Now, I've also talked to people where they talk about the elementals, the wood people, the ones in the forest people. I'm sorry, like woods, forest, wood spirits, all that kind of stuff. Having capabilities to be able to do things and manifest and show up in these images that our cameras pick up now. How factual is it? I don't know, but I've used my camera before, and I've actually had some questionable things show up in it that my eyes don't see, but the lens's eye does. And it's like you can almost put things together of something, sometimes with more clarity than others, sometimes not so much. But I can't really honestly say, but if we do deep dive that part of theory of any type of cryptid, when we have 235 fires in Canada and every hotspot in that area marked, why aren't we seeing them running for their lives from the woods into the United States? When we look at all the fires in the United States in some of these low-cal areas in California, which burns up thousands upon thousands of acres, that is the hottest spot for Bigfoot in the country, in our country, outside of Canada and then New York and a few other places. And you look at this map that's all the hottest in sightings. It's like, why aren't they walking up and down the street with us? You know what I mean? And and look, I'm not double down on these people. I do believe at times, because it's been caught on camera. Expedition Bigfoot, last year, one of their very last episodes, they were filming across the creek, and a very dark black shadow figure walking with ape-like arms walks across and dissipates into thin air, but it's all caught on camera. Now, I'm not saying that maybe there could be manipulation. I don't know technology that deep, but I don't think that occurred. I really think it was a factual thing. What did they pick up? What is out there? What is cross-dimensioning with us? Who knows? But when you look at the fires and you look at the isolated area of how all the burning was going on, why isn't everybody in Canada telling us, Jesus Christ, we just lost, 3 million acres of ground, but we didn't see one Bigfoot? You would have to, if it was a physical manner, unless it's not.
Well, I want to throw this question at you then. We lost all those, Oprah bought all that land in Hawaii on Maui the last few years. Now with the fire, she bought all this more. Is she hiding something, or is she just getting ready to open Oprah Smart City?
I think she's behind everything. Go ahead, John.
I can't stand that. I can't stand her name. She is the biggest fraud that was played on the American people in the 80s. Oh, all the
that
women
was Obama.
Yeah, that's true. But now this one,
Oprah Windbag was there first. So wait a minute,
Yeah.
I can't say that because she probably has a copyright on Oprah Windbag, which I've called her for a million years anyway. I have to be careful.
No, I wish Jerry was here because it was funny on his show we did earlier in the week. I was like, oh, they have a pill for that. They have a pill for that. And after this Hawaii thing, I'm like, I'm not doing my nails anymore. I don't care. I bit them up. I don't care. I'm done. The children, the state, which is not a state. It's not even a real state, but we think it is. It's just that we've always claimed it as a state. I guess it doesn't have the right paperwork. So they thought they could do whatever they
neither
wanted.
did Obama, and he was born there.
Oh my God. No, he had a really good jury-rigged birth certificate.
At least you didn't say Jew-rigged for Larry Bird.
My gosh. No.
I'm just teasing with you, Larry.
I can't handle it.
It was jerry-rigged.
Jerry-rigged. Yeah.
Jerry-rigged.
That's what I said, didn't
For
I?
Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern on Facebook and Rumble.
I can't handle the loss of the children and the school buses. What the heck is that about?
Well, you got to ask Kamala Harris about the school buses.
No, oh my gosh.
The truth seems to be that she didn't even ride the bus to school.
The passage of time. I know, it's ridiculous, but seriously, it was so obvious the way it happened. I mean, and we were saying, "Oh, heads are going to roll." Are they? What the heck? They couldn't talk. There was no communication. There were people trapped on the freeway, and the fire is consuming the cars. They couldn't. I don't know. Then there were people jumping to their death in the sea. They sent all the children home because of the high winds. They let oh my God, the whole
I watched a Bill Muckler broadcast, and he said that's what people were doing. They were just jumping into the ocean to get off of the island.
Fire.
And I think he was the first one. It might have been Michael or you, Jen. It might have been you, Nikki, that said they were sending the kids home from school without contacting the parents.
Yep.
And now there's a bunch of kids missing. And there's only one way to get on Maui and one way to get off Maui, really. You got to have some kind of a boat.
The damn island.
So
and now they're still arresting people who want
and I know Michael follows
to
traffickers.
go to their homes.
Follows the traffickers, and I know that Dixie Rose of Texas follows them, and Brian Gaudier is a great guy, Justice for Kids, here on Facebook. I really haven't had the gonads to ask the question because nobody on a Boogie with the Bull broadcast, well, the three of you will, but nobody will tell me because I want to look at our government people and go, did you traffic them? Are we ever going to see them? Did you traffic them did you bring them into Alaska and send them into Canada? Did you just take them to Canada?
I read a story about a 13-year-old boy who was told to go home and just
they burned
stay
to
in
death.
your home. Dear God, I know. And they said just go to your home and sanctuary there, stay covered, don't leave, lock the door. So he goes home and it's him and his dog, and he's holding his dog because they know they're gonna die. And then now the whole fire department has PTSD because they have to go house to house and account how many bodies they're finding. And do you know the Navy? If anyone could have contacted the Navy, they could have sent a couple of 747s over there loaded with water to put it out. And there's just no excuse.
They probably could have equipped Black Hawk helicopters to fly over. Well, they got the surveillance planes, like you said, to fly over and start looking for everything.
Weren't allowed to. The government said, no, you cannot go over our airways right now. You can't do. Oh my God! They were
more water.
Right.
You're surrounded by a goddamn ocean.
Right.
Pumping out the fucking ocean.
But desalted
water puts out fire.
Just pull the salt water in. I'm sure salt water puts out fires just as good as unsalted water, but you might have to use more of it because it's salted. I don't know.
Tear up your pumps, but god damn it, do something.
When we lived in California, they were talking about building water plants back in the 80s, 70s and 80s in California to desalt ocean water so we could use it for farming and drinking if we had to. They never did.
Yeah, but when you look at the scale of this particular incident, there was no way that they could handle this on their own with what they had in place. They had in place only the normalities that we have in our local areas. The devastation and size of this was uncontrollable, and they knew they could get away with it.
They did it on purpose because they knew if they would kill off all the natives and the old people and the young men and the fighting people, they wouldn't have to put up a fight when they took it over to set up their smart cities.
But do they really does Oprah really want to own a big, huge, smart city on Maui, or is she just buying the land to clear it out and bring more billion-dollar mansions there?
No, she wants to bring more children. It's going to be another Epstein Island. It's sick. I hate it. I hate her. I can't.
Isn't it being reported over and over right now that there's been sightings of him in Lebanon?
You think he's going to end up in? You think he's going to end up in Maui?
Don't know, but I can only tell you that there's videos that just got released over the last 30 days that show him at parties, attending parties, some of the higher up that are political agenda people would be rubbing elbows with. And it was on video. And now, again, could this possibly be older things? I don't think they were tampered with because you could see some blur within them and actions of movements. You wouldn't have that if it was under technology. Technology would keep that clean. You would have to try to self-impose it in some way to distort it. And I don't know if they have that total capability. Because everything they do is about advancement.
Here's a stupid question. What if what left the jail cell in New York that was supposed to be his body was his body, but they cloned him?
Yeah, well, I mean...
Because every day you read on Facebook somebody was cloned. I was cloned. AI companies send me email every day telling me they can clone me as an AI in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I understand we're seeing a lot like that. I would say, like, any time that these people are behind something, you will never truly see the body. It doesn't matter whose. Look at the past administrations, the takeouts of the vandals, the 911 people, and all that. Where are the bodies once you find? Well, we gave them a burial at sea. We did this. We gave them their, according to their customs and their religions. Why suddenly would you do that and not keep some type of documented record?
Because it was the same. It
didn't happen.
I don't want to say that Rudy Giuliani was involved in it because I think Rudy's a great guy, and I don't think he's guilty of a lot of things that they have accused him of. But while he was mayor, he had 150-ton trucks that loaded up, and I guess everything went to China. So couldn't have been the same thing that they had somebody on some I don't know what you call it.
Yeah, you weren't allowed to touch nothing. The same as what's going on in Maui. It's the same type of exact. It's the same type of exact. It all blends and matches too well.
Yeah.
It's like the new zone. I mean, that's all you can call it. It's crazy, but you're right. Yeah, all the steel and anything of importance that we would have been able to test and figure out, we were not allowed to do. It was like, nope, you can't do it. Everything, and not only that, it was done by armed guards. Armed guards. Every truck that left was escorted. It had to be dropped. Nobody could get anywhere near any of the materials. And they had to wait days to get into the basements because they were so hot.
Gosh.
Yeah.
The towers. I mean, I talked a little bit the other night on some of that stuff with a few people coming in on the panel and whatnot. We're finding out more and we understand more. And, we know who's behind it. I mean, like when the Pentagon got hit by a plane, there was a news anchor only 30 seconds from there. He drove around the block, put the camera right on the building, and there wasn't even a piece of a plane there.
And Joe Biden saw the brown cloud of smoke.
Maybe.
Well, no, that's what he said. That's what he said.
My God.
He said that in his autobiography.
And Trump never talked about a brown cloud. But we do know that these buildings were the strongest buildings because of their design. And a plane, basically comparing, granite to plastic. Yes, fuel can cause a fire, but it won't burn down the building. And then you have the testimony of fire and police that boom, 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 boom. They heard it. They were in the building before the collapse started, hearing the explosion, and they dropped.
Did they? I got to ask a question I don't really want to ask, and I'm going to kill my mic because the dogs are barking. Were those buildings built back when they were built for something like this?
Interesting you said that, because at the same time they implemented 911 what's your emergency, was the same exact time they broke ground on the towers, 1968.
Wow.
So is that just coincidence again? Come on.
That's crazy.
Yeah, hold on a minute. We got one more person that's going to join us. Oh, there's Jerry. Jerry is back. I'm sorry. Jerry is back.
I apologize, Jerry, if I said something to offend you. I really do.
I don't think you can offend him. He's pretty.
Now, Jerry puts up with a lot. He just tells me to turn my mic off, or he turns it off for me. But no comments, Jerry. Anything? I know you did pop off, but comments on all of this. I gotta turn my.
So, Jerry, the best part you missed was what Michael just told us about the 911 emergency system to call 911, that it was implemented in 1968, I believe you said. And it was the exact same time in history that they broke ground to start building the Twin Towers. So it's just a really weird coincidence, but it's like the same way they started out with that 911 being implemented was the way it went down, and they used 911 to get help. And that was a really yucky, sick ending to that story. But before you got here, Michael, I was talking about the mythological symbolism of the Twin Towers being two Greek gods. They were brother and sister. One was Artemis, and that was the sister, and the other one was Apollo. And I guess did I say it right?
Yeah.
Apollo. Well, the tower that was the brother, it had the phallic symbol on top. It had this really long antenna, and the one that was the sister didn't have anything. But when they fell, what they did to put up a memorial was a big antenna for Apollo, and then for Artemis they have this square like hole, like a pool, but it's not filled with water. It's just a hole down to a pit. I mean, it's not full of anything. It's just a hole in the earth. And so, it's like a bottomless
It may
pit.
have to do with the fact that the Tesla was involved earlier, teaching them about how to harness what we call dark energy. You remember? Everybody remembers Nikola Tesla. He did figure out free energy, and that's when everybody dropped him with grants or trying to help him because he wanted to help society. He wanted to give back to the people because it was part of our natural God given. And they were like, no, we can't do that. And then they tried to crush him, and they put pressure points. And don't forget this, Donald J. Trump's uncle was the one that showed up at that hotel room that they were ever so lenient to give him and took all the information because he was part of the machine at that time on technology.
Wow.
There's a lot of mad connections, and that's why they're so pissed at him. They know that there's been things, and they're just crushed about how Donald Trump just jumped sides. But you know what? He came to a point of enlightenment, I guess, and said there's too much here for people to do what they're doing, and I'm not going to dwell on it as they do. I'm going to take action against it. But that's part of the scenarios. They all know each other very, very well. There's money surrounds money in many ways. And and as the old saying goes, who you know, it's who you know.
When you're Elon Musk and you have all the money in one way or another, Michael, do you think that he will one day build the dream that Tesla had? Will electricity run free into your home? I mean, I don't know if people have electric cars then. I still won't have one. But will electricity run free into our homes one day?
He's already devised things just as well as some normal folk have, figuring out how to collect and gather. We're talking about particle size, nothing in the atmosphere that could generate power for a city and harvesting it. I'll take you back to a story long ago, but not so long ago in Alaska, where there was a place on the map in Alaska that seemed that nobody ever looked at, and it was left blank to the map. And what we learned and what we found out, the researchers in the past who did this really, intense research on it, is they found inside the earth, made of a substance that we're rock that we're not even sure where it came from because it doesn't have anything to do with the geological makeup of Alaska. It's called the Black Pyramid, and it energizes its own arc of energy. And I really think Tesla had inside information about things because it was a cover over. How do you have a military map, and one section on the map shows that it's never been fully navigated yet? It's never been geologically completed. It's because they don't want you to know. But what we really do know in the military, it's a very big hush, and they even did things and constructed things in this area that take them down. They've had close-up looks at this. It's bigger than the Pyramid of Giza. And it's underground. They call it the Black Pyramid. I call it the Black Stone because that's how I learned of it, the Black Stone of Alaska. And there are things like this. That's why they put obelisks and things in place. And they put certain type of antenna-looking things. Some of these places under old technology were harvesting electricity into the buildings before people even understood.
Just don't call it Black Rock.
I'll call it State Street. Or I call it the Vanguard Rock. I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
How many of the other things you want? But yeah, no, I mean, these people get the picture. And that's to keep people in slavery. They can have the best beef in the world, being raised somewhere else, and they're going to get the best cuts of it. And we're going to get steer from Mexico that is basically starving to eat in the fields, and they shoot them and cut them up and send them here. We're not eating. If you go to your store, it says from Australia, it says from Mexico. Very seldom are you coming across labels anymore that say grass-fed USA.
This pink slime trucked into your local packaging house.
Right, but I mean the point being, they know, and they have so much technology and information. And where most of the history of artifacts that gave them that is at the Vatican, under 50 some odd miles underneath buried. They have bits and pieces of everything, and they go after everything. They used the Templars in ancient times until they crossed them. And Templars didn't even cross them. Templars was questioning them, and they put them to death by fire. But this is what they did. They sent people out on, death sentences, because look how many times the Library of Alexandria burned down, and all the things that were stolen from it before that happened. It was a cover-up. They knew about how to cover up, thousands of years ago. They were doing it then to manipulate.
They taught the Bidens.
Pardon me?
I said they taught the Bidens.
Maybe in some ways that's possible. I get where you're going with that, but when you think about it, that is why there is selection, not an election. That's why there is a due process for their system and their side to take place, to get in place, to take over our place. And that's what they have done. While we thought we were having a great life 5, 6, 7 years ago, it's not so bad. We got through this. I guess Obama wasn't so bad. But the truth of the matter is there was a lot of people in the background already knowing that was a bunch of hogwash. And everything is led up to it now. And that's why even Elon Musk, let's bring up his name again, said the conspirators were not wrong. And we're not wrong about anything. We're not. I mean, not the true ones who really look into the research of it. But you have to understand it's a long thing. That's the best I can say. And I think that you guys know that firsthand. This every war, every time in history there's been death. Everybody's prayed. It's been repeated. There's been a silent moment. There's been a recreation of this or religion or something added in or patriotism, something to give people hope. And then there's another takedown and it's repeated. Wash, rinse, repeat. Wash, rinse, repeat. Wash, rinse, repeat. And that's the system of the machine. And that's where we're at. We've never been in charge, not truly. I mean, we have presidents that were never elected. We had presidents before Washington that they were nominated as storts of America. They weren't presidential people. They weren't a presidency. They were storts of America, the ones who looked out after America. They don't bring up their names, and two of them, I'm sorry, I still am trying to find out the one's name, and I do believe there were two black people that were actually part of being the steward, having the stewardship of it. So, and that's just like Barry's family. When you look at Obama, look who his family was. Look who his stepfather was in bed with, Bush. And it's not a lie. It's not a lie. It's a fact. Even Judge Joe has come out and talked about it, and he has a hell of a lot of credentials behind him. He has nothing to gain. He has nothing to lose, but he could lose his reputation, and he won't because he's right on the money.
Yeah. Jerry, any comments you want to add?
He's on mute. Anyhow, we talked about on the last American Rebellion, Nikki, we talked about the LLCs because this is how they operate. This is how Biden is making all his millions. And that really pisses me off, hearing about him getting a $50 million check. And then the 8 other Bidens get these $1 million checks. And Hunter, he's running free, rich as can be. And no, they never had any business dealings together, but they're recorded. How many times? 28 times on... It's like so stupid. It's getting obvious. But what we were talking about was these LLC shell companies and the big ones that you were talking about, Vanguard, BlackRock, and I think State Street. All 3 of them. They're like, it's ancestral. They like invest in each other. They deposit and withdrawal, and they just work together. They're this big like monopoly. And what their plan is, and this is sick, is to buy all of the real estate in the United States, all of the houses that we're losing because the Fed raises, like my son and future daughter-in-law, they're looking for houses. And we're like, don't. You have to rent or stay where you are or build. I don't know what to do. And so it's sick. It's just a sick plan. They raise the rates so we can't buy houses. We can't, we always used, that's how we paid off our college fees. We would refinance and pay off all your debt. And you can't do that anymore. You can't. They've really got us trapped. And I hate that. Like the deck is stacked against us so bad that I don't know how to get out of this. I personally, it's bad. It's just, besides God, it's bad. It's really bad.
Well, Joe Biden has your back on college loans. He's got your back.
We already refinanced. It's done. Yeah. That's what normal people do. He's so stupid.
Joe Biden has your back.
Yeah, against the wall, and he's my God.
Yeah.
I am from the government. I am here to help you.
Yeah, Joe Biden has your back up against the wall, and he's holding your gun in your face.
Got that going for
Jerry talks. What did he say?
Yeah, right, Jerry.
My internet is doing its usual thing, so
mine too. Because I can't get a word in.
Half of the time I can't hear what anybody's saying, and the other half everybody's talking all at once, and it's not you, it's me. So I have been trying to I've been listening. I'll be truthful. I don't know a lot about some of the stuff you're talking about, or more truthfully, I don't know anything about it. But I've been listening.
Neither do we. We're just talking about it.
Just talking shit. But the Maui thing,
Oh God.
rolling back to that with the land grab thing. Now, we know what's happening over there. I mean, it's quite obvious. But why did the mainstream media all of a sudden want to debunk all of this land grab thing? They thought it was the biggest. I mean, it's the biggest conspiracy theory ever created. Like, why'd you even bring it up if it's a conspiracy theory? Because you know it's true. Something's happening over there. People are still getting arrested for going back to their own damn houses.
Right.
They're arresting them.
But why Oprah Winbag? Why is she the one who gets to buy all the land for pennies on your dollar?
Well,
I mean,
what happened to Obama's house? Nothing.
Nothing. Bezos' house, nothing. Doesn't Gates have a house there too? I'm sure it's protected.
Zuckerberg.
Oh God.
Zuckerberg. Yep,
Zuckerberg has 2 islands adjacent.
Yeah. I thought he owns a good portion of Hawaii too. The actual
That's
island
been
of
a
Hawaii.
human trafficking network outlet for so many years. I mean, young girls go there because it's like California and Hollywood. Everybody wants that, because that's where it was. You want to make the best money, go there. They had no idea what they were going to get themselves into, with these sleaze bags like Oprah, who was the madam of Hollywood. Not the original. They removed her to put Oprah in place. What was her name? The little brunette chick. Oh God, it was just in my head, and but they removed her. Anybody can look it up. Just ask who the Hollywood madam was on Google, and it will bring Heidi something maybe. Fleck?
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Heidi
Fleiss.
They removed her because Oprah wanted that position. So it was arranged through the idiot that's in jail right now. Because remember, she was the one bringing all the girls to him for playtime. The same things were going on over there. Same things were going on Epstein Island. There was many islands with things going on. I mean, and the truth of the matter is, swinger lifestyle was huger 20 years ago than it probably is now. But it was a way of life for a lot of people secretively, and that's a fact. That is a fact, unequivocal. All-inclusive trips, naked islands, and all that. And it was all it was for swinging and for sex. That's exactly what it was for. And they were everywhere. All the islands. They were in Mexico. They were everywhere. These little places, planted resorts, were all about that.
My God. That's how they made money.
There's more, look, as I said, and as I tried to explain to people maybe a couple of years ago, when I got the information the way I did, and it's not because I have intel, I just have guys like you and me sitting there on talking in a different manner. And there was more money made with this than there was in the whole NFL and National Baseball League with it. And don't leave out basketball.
Yeah.
Who the heck came up with children? Brought children into this. I mean,
it was all these young ladies. If you go back to the midnight on the TV about 15 years ago, Girls Gone Wild.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Remember that? Hell, I forgot about that.
Guys were glued to their TV sets all night long.
Just trust me.
Guys were glued to their TV sets all night long.
In Roman times, they had either young boys or young girls always around. This has been going on for centuries. It's nothing new. It's just we can't get the entire populace on the same page to say that this is not only a crime, it's a crime against humanity at this point. And the United States of America is literally probably the biggest child trafficking enterprise in the world, simply because of how they're running the borders and everything else they're doing. That's just despicable.
Letting all the illegals in, with the coyotes running
And
Well,
the
remember, 50
children.
states
I
have
think it
50
was the
borders.
10.
Have your
I think it
governors
was
protect.
the 10 Commandments. They even showed one of the pharaohs or something. Tony Curtis was in this scene. Oh no, Spartacus.
Spartacus.
I'm Spartacus.
The guy who bought Tony Curtis as a slave, he actually in real life used to have little boys in his tub, and the tubs back then were huge. I mean, not like today. Swimming around like fish in his tub, and they were boys. And that scene with him and Tony Curtis in it was actually supposedly, and kind of looks like it to me, you know a gay scene, and it kind of they kind of depicted what was going on back then. It was no different than today. And when you look at what's going on today, it's just on a much larger scale. And
That's
we
not
are actually selling
exactly.
people,
I-
children. We are selling children to the highest bidder. Like, social media has become like a catalog for this. You can look at what you want. I just saw a thing the other day that if you're a young girl or something and you find a zip tie hanging off of your, car door handle
Door
outside,
handle. Yep.
you've been marked.
Yep.
You've been marked to be taken.
Yep.
It is a
Someone's
highly
being taken over there.
organized. It's a
Sometimes I
highly
wish that would get
organized thing
taken.
they're doing, and there's thousands of people involved. Not to mention the hundreds of thousands of kids that are disappearing. And the United States government is in full compliance with doing all this shit by what they're doing. I mean, they put these kids and let them go into the country with anybody, and then they call them 3 times. If they don't answer or they don't get on the phone, they don't call them anymore. That's their whole thing where they're checking on these kids. And it
Yes,
just
that's
came
Planned
out. I mean,
Parenthood.
it's it was in a
Yeah.
hearing. They're talking about this with
Right.
Mayorkas. Okay, so this is nothing that's a big secret.
But
It's not a fucking conspiracy theory. This is what they're doing. I mean, he came out and said this with a straight face and seriousness, like it was that. Well, that's all we need to do. No, we don't.
but
The
that's
United
what they're
States of
calling it,
America is the
Jerry.
biggest trafficking, is the biggest fucking child trafficking organization in the goddamn world right now. And not us, but the United States government is in full agreement with allowing it to continue.
Oh,
And the
no
only
doubt.
way it's going to stop is if we all go down to the border and just start shooting these bastards as they come across.
Yeah,
Okay,
Jerry.
that's how it's going to end.
Jerry, real quick. They call all this, like when that movie just came out, whatever it's called, about the child trafficking.
Sound of
It is
Freedom.
Sounds of Freedom. I can't wait to watch it. Anyway, conspiracy theory. That's all they said. That's just that's not happening. It's a conspiracy theory. And
My
then
God.
a week or so later, they catch like in different states, like 300 people trafficking children.
Oh my God.
They arrested them. I'm like, well, that's not a conspiracy theory at this point.
Will
It's
will,
real.
I agree.
will Mayorkas ever be?
Yeah, but seeing as how the mainstream media is highly involved in this crap, along with the people who own the mainstream media, 3 people own all the media in the country. Considering they're highly involved in all this shit, of course they're going to say it's a goddamn conspiracy theory. They think everything that is true is a conspiracy theory because it makes everybody look bad if they actually agreed with it. Fuck them. I'm going to tell you what it's going to take to fix all this shit, and that's the American people standing up putting aside our fucking differences on ridiculous shit that don't even fucking matter anymore, and marching on Washington. And I'm talking about with real fucking guns, not goddamn selfie cameras, and taking these fuckers out. Because I, for one, am tired of talking about how they found these kids here, and this little girl who's 10 has been raped 35 goddamn times. All right? I'm tired of this. I'm tired of all of it. And I just don't want to play anymore. I want this shit done.
Yeah, well, it's going to get a lot darker, brother.
People call me. Yeah, I keep hearing that, and that's unacceptable.
I agree.
Yeah.
But
People
we're
tell
trying
me,
to
well,
hold-
you're an
trying to hold
extremist,
the
you're
plan
this,
together.
and you're that. Fuck you. I want kids to be able to grow up believing in goddamn Santa Claus and goddamn Easter Bunny and all the rest of it like I did, and then find out it crushes you for a week, and then you move the fuck on. And you play with your toys, and you play with your friends outside, and you grow up, get married, have your own kids, and treat them the same damn way. You know what? I'm tired of this. It is unacceptable what is happening. I keep listening to everything and everybody, and I watch thousands of videos, and I'm trying to learn shit. And you know what? Ain't a goddamn bit of it good. And Michael is right. It's gonna get worse, much worse.
Yep.
You know what? You know what the border crisis.
The hell up and say enough.
Yeah, you know the whole border crisis
No,
was
you're fine, Jerry.
The whole border episode, when it started, was so they could get their hands closer to the ones they didn't want you to know about, that they couldn't keep track of. So what had happened was the same things that we're looking at now: floods, devastation, fires, earthquakes. You know, I mean, look at it. You just saw more happen the last couple of days. It just wasn't Hawaii. There was other episodes. Every time they could take down a country for non-compliance to what the United States of America wanted. We are the weapon, by the way. There was no mass weapons anywhere. We are that weapon. And it's sometimes not even because we have a weapon of energy, but we do utilize our weapon of destruction through mind. And what they would do, and why these people were coming here, is because they created devastation. And I'm not saying it was for every country, but closer to 80% went through fires, went through floods. People had nowhere to go. The United States quit giving our tax dollar to them and said, you either get your people and promote gay marriages, or we're going to just invite them to our country. And that's what they did. So they had nowhere to go. The government had no money to support them. They would have starved. It would have been a depopulation. It would have been on them. So what did they do? You people must leave the country. We cannot help you. So they had no choice but to come here. All created under the United Nations and the administration of the United States of America. So it was all planned by destructing their lives elsewhere. They had no choice but to come here. And that's why they were promised the big blanket: come here, get Social Security, get housing. And where are they? They're sleeping on the floor of police stations in Chicago and New York, two of the hardest hit. And that's why I say every state has a border. Call your governor and say, protect our border. It just isn't about Texas, Arizona bullshit. It's about every goddamn state in the United States of America. And they have the power to do something about it. And not one freaking governor has stood up to it. Well, it's not true. We have two that have tried. But again, they're against the machine.
But that's what it is. What does Grisham down in New Mexico? She's gonna end up getting impeached as far as that. Well, no, she won't, because she's a Democrat governor. But I mean, if she's gonna get this thing before it gets to court, she gets some kind of federal or state injunction that it can't happen, and before it gets to the Supreme Court, is every other Democrat governor in the country going to try to do it?
No one's supporting her on that. That's stupid. You can't to take away guns. You can't. She knows it. Her people know that. Even Democrats in the state, they're like, we need our guns to protect ourselves from the immigrants. So it's not going to work.
I guess the sheriff of the largest county, Berlolio County, something like that, he said,
already been shot down.
Yeah, he said, I'm not doing it. The police chief who I guess is under. I guess the sheriff is the highest law enforcement official in a county, and I guess the police chief under him said he's not doing it, and that other
Supreme Court justice said it was unlawful.
Yeah.
They had to get involved on a case matter that was presented to them, and they said it's not. They don't look at this whole issue as you have the right to bear arms only in your home, because that's what they were saying. It was only about in your home. And they said it goes on both sides, in or out of your home.
right.
So, you know, they are losing it stuff. They are losing. And when it comes to some of these election things, look it up. There's been some mayors that went to, but they're not going to talk about it, but they had to serve. One brought in 6 ballots, caught on camera.
Yeah.
Did time for it, but they only got 13 freaking days.
Yeah.
Everybody who
Well,
gets busted gets very,
there-
you know, gets a kiss on the cheek.
What happened to all the video that what's his face, James O'Keefe, Project Veritas, while he was still there? You know, he spent hours, you know, riding along with that lady in Texas, I think, who was going up to the door and getting people to getting Democrats to Republicans to sign Democrat ballots.
Conspiracy theory.
You know,
Yeah, again, ka-ching, another
Yeah.
one.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I hear where everybody's at, man. You know, I hate this. I hate where we are. I wish we could all wake up tomorrow and something big happen. But you know, the truth of the matter is, when you have a president becomes teary-eyed in front of the nation, addressing a crowd of thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands, there's nothing coming. There's no one else out there. Except for the sadness in his heart gave me a little bit more strength. And I even put that in one of my posts on one of the videos, because the truth of the matter is, as I told everybody, the more they listened to 17Q, it was the other side trying to just keep you compliant, somehow keeping you where you thought you needed to be, like the world was going to fix it while we all sat from behind the glass here and watched. And it never happened. It's been again the process of wash, rinse, and repeat. What and how many times people wrote to me, defriended me, unfriended me, blocked me, told me I was full of shit, accused the ruler of the world. You know, it's gonna happen. Military news. It's all a strategy of their side to keep a narrative on us, thinking something better's coming. And when I challenged some of the biggest voices out there and said, if you were so right, go one-on-one with me. And let's talk about this. And I wrote to Derek Arnold and all them with their, you know, because when you don't have a justice system and all you have is an injustice system, I don't care what piece of paper you think is going to work for you, it's not going to happen, because no one's going to see it through. The same as every fact that we put up in front of these people and every court in America where we have been shot down on every level for everything, no matter how big, no matter how small, we lost. But we do get some wins through magistrate and smaller court areas. And that's why I always said, make the best of what we can for 2023, 2024. Stay strong, you know, stay focused, and hope for the best, because we don't know where our future lies. We truly don't know. And if you think for a minute they're just going to hand this country back to us and say, oh, Trump won, we got to give it back to him. Yeah, right. Think twice. Think twice, because it's a death sentence if they hand it to him.
I wanted to catch you before you cut out. I don't know if you have, whenever you have to go. I'm not pushing you out. I read something on Facebook today. It was a reprint of a Twitter post that evidently people know of an attempt to assassinate Trump, but supposedly what they will assassinate is a clone, because Trump knows about it and he's somewhere. Is it? No. I mean, I'm sure it didn't. It sounded too good to be true, but it had a million likes on it.
Purpose, but okay, all right. Let's say that there's some fact somewhere somehow. What would be the purpose to shooting and killing a clone?
I have no idea.
I mean, that's like me putting up my youngest doll's Barbie doll collection. And
I know.
room behind me, and I take him outside just for something to shoot at.
Yeah.
What do I get out of it? What happens? But I will say this. I do fear for him. I also fear for Elon Musk, the two most important people right now doing things, taking us into the future. One, because he can control technology and combat it because he created most of it. And the other one, Trump, who knows everything and told you he did, and he does.
He says he can end the Ukraine-Russia war in a phone call, and I'm sure he could. I'm confident he could.
He says he can. And he probably spanked Kim Jong-un at the same time, you know.
Right. And
what does he think he's doing? Because now he's playing himself as Russia's buddy.
Every time we give money to the Ukraine,
and who loves Trump more right now? Who?
Kim.
Who?
Oh, more than Kim.
Oh yeah, he you know, it's sad that from what I understand, Putin speaks fluent English, but 90% of the time he talks in Russian. Right. But the few times that I have watched videos of him talking in English, it's really sad that he's not in front of a camera in Russia yelling at the United States in English.
Well, in a way, he did the other day.
No.
In his support to Trump.
Yeah.
He points every finger to who is at fault. That's, to me, that's magnificent because it opens up the eyes of a lot of the things. It also brings in Germany, it brings in Ukraine, brings in Taiwan, brings in China, brings in the United States. And what that brings in is they want war because war makes them money and war stops elections, and you know they really want these things. And I think everybody, including Kevin, and like him or not, whatever his scenario's there, I really think that there is something going on because the longer that they can feed the system and allow the system to function, and within war, you will see life and death occur. And there's going to be many levels of it due to gun smuggling, drugs, human trafficking, and all these other stuff. But if you were to let them just take everything, no one would get a Social Security check tomorrow. No one would get this. No one would get that. No one would have this. No one wouldn't have a bank account. Your 401k will be dried up. They could call in mortgages. And then the seven elites will jump in, just as Jen said, who they've already started to do and buy up all the property and pull the Gates and Oprah Winfrey card, along with Klaus Schwab and a few of these other people. But, you know, taking that with a grain of salt, I mean, we need to remain strong as we can to get through. And I don't know what it'll mean if we get to that point, but let's just hope for the best and fight for, you know, everything else in the rest of the time. I don't know what else to say. I don't think anybody does, because the cures are to shut down the government, and that's one way to make it work. If you do that and they have no money, you're going to see a lot more trafficking and a lot more this, that, and everything else. And the point to matter is this administration, and it's not even being run by Joe Biden, by a lady. Okay, there's a woman, and it's a single picture, and I put it up today. I put it up 30 days ago. For
Michael Obama?
Why? She's white.
She's white.
Oh, okay.
She's stupid. I swear she was best friends with the Bud Light woman. They are that connive. Oh, I can't even go on. Sorry.
Dylan?
No, it's okay. It's bad. I get it. You know, I guess I said all I can really say. It's just, I know we're all frustrated. We all have anxiety things over it. Jerry's 100% right. The right thing to do is to go there and show our force of power. The problem with that is they have the technology not to be there to zap us, and we'll look like.
Yeah. Now this is a weird thing. Now Elon Musk said that we don't have enough people in America, and of course, so we're bringing in foreigners. But we're a dying breed, and we're the ones that are paying the taxes. Are the foreigners paying taxes too? Because the government's going to need more people to pay the taxes. Now, this is a really weird situation that happened, but in England in the 1800s, but it wasn't to pay the taxes. They were a dying breed because they were using the boys that had the best voices. They could sing like such high pitch, a cappella. They would sing really high, and the reason why, higher, but don't do
Higher.
it. Please don't.
I
No,
was just trying to do a little.
No,
Get
falsetto,
Mary ahead.
ultra,
this is like
ultra
sick.
falsetto
This-
natural because they
This
were,
is
they were,
castrated.
yeah,
They
that's
were
what I was going
castrated.
to say.
Yeah, it was nasty. They would castrate
Yeah.
the boys so they could get to that
You don't go
heavenly
through,
octave.
right. You don't go through puberty and your voice
But
stays high like that.
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay,
but
so
they
Well, you're
couldn't-
61 years old and you
They
can interview
couldn't-
Mickey Mouse.
Now's not the time to do one of those jokes.
here's an important thought. Here's an important thought. I'm going to be leaving soon because I want to get a few things done, write some notes. I'm working on some projects.
I'm glad you came, Michael. I really am.
I'm glad I came too. It was fun, but not for the reasons we all think about. But look, they can't kill the dollar because if they do, the streets go dead. The fentanyl doesn't get moved. Trafficking doesn't get moved. Human sex trafficking doesn't get moved.
That's bad.
All the agenda things. So there's a plan in Washington to focalize on that, to trickle money even in the trillions, just to keep this medley going, so they don't come after we the people. Because if they come after we the people, they're going to take everything we have financially. And here's the future. And it was part of the talk of the 7. It was part of the United Nations meeting, the 2030 agenda. Within that period of time to 2027, 30 million people in the United States will no longer be employed any longer, plus the ones who retire, et cetera, et cetera. So you're looking at probably closer to problematic around 50. So you're looking for someone to pay taxes while A&I technology's taking all the jobs. And that's the focus of it. They don't care about that because they can print money because it means nothing as long as it works here. If paper that has no value can still be used through their power of hand because they can print it through a Fed who is not even a part of the United States running it with them, they have all the power in the world. That's why nobody wants our money. That's why Joe couldn't buy oil from the other countries. They said your money's worthless. We're not selling it to you. You'd have to pay us 4 times the amount, and we'd have to try to liquidate the cash.
Yeah,
You had these issues like that. So remember, 300 million is projected by 2027 worldwide. 300 million jobs no longer needed once A&I is fully in operation. And we're already closer than what they're telling us.
So what are we doing we're just going to be on our own? They're not feeding us. It's total socialism. They're giving us what they think we need, and you're happy with it? Or
okay, like I put a post up today. I can't
we
remember.
won't be sitting here. We won't be sitting here doing this broadcast on Tuesday and Thursday nights once that in 2027. I'm sure.
I don't think I will be.
Well,
I'm not. I don't know if I can hang with all this shit that long. I don't know if my life.
No. I mean, I'm just saying.
I mean,
obviously, we're not going to be working, so it's either going to be a total socialist society where they give you what you want or what they think you want, and you're happy with it, or you're not.
Yeah.
If this happens, I will tell you what will happen, and that will be we'll go back to like in World War II in Europe, where they broadcast like a pirate radio station, and that's how they got the words out. It'll go back to lower tech, that it will be very hard to find because it's constantly moving to different spots and areas, and that's how it will be done. People like me who know nothing about any of that will not be doing anything online because it won't be allowed. It'll be against community standards. What we did here tonight, I guarantee you, was against community standards. Sorry, Dave.
Yeah.
And,
no, it's okay. I'm going to wake up with a 36 hour restriction in the morning, I'm sure.
What me and Nick do, and what Jen and whoever else shows up is against community standards damn near every time we do it, and it will be even worse later. They take social media away, we're going to have a bunch of damn zombies running around here. Me personally, I could care less, because I'm still going to live my life the way I see fit, and they can go screw themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I see too many people out there that their entire life is Facebook, and it's like, you got to stop, because eventually you will be thrown off. The only reason we haven't been thrown off is because we're nobody. They've already thrown off the people with millions and millions of followers and stuff. Okay, from Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, you name it. They threw the president of the United States off of Twitter and Facebook.
My gosh.
We are nobody. Nobody listens, really. We get maybe 100, 150 views, whatever it is. They don't care. But eventually, they will get to us, and we will. Yeah, Dave, I don't give a damn how many views you get, okay? I don't.
Oh, I thought he was
They will
waving to
get
me or
to
giving
us
me the finger.
eventually.
No.
Eventually, they will get to us. And then when they do, we'll be gone. And then hopefully somebody with ham radio or some kind of
Ham
van, one of
radio.
those old panel vans that can drive all over the country like Woody Harrelson in that movie, and they'll be doing pirate radio, and that's how it's going to be done. Period.
Wow.
Just like they did in World War II against the Germans in Europe.
I think we might even go back to the old clicker. Because they can't stop frequency on that, but they can on handheld CBs and other radio waves. They can't steady charge the atmosphere to interfere with those to where it breaks it up. So you'd almost be going back to like being on the ship like the Titanic and that sad story of those people who didn't want the Fed to get voted in, but they lost their lives because they didn't get off the ship in the way they thought they would. But nevertheless, I mean, all they had was that little
Morse code.
Morse code. Yeah.
And I think it might be something that we may need to all brush up on, to be quite honest with you. It may be in a way sounding stupid, but the possibility is all there. It really is.
Jeremy,
At some point, they'll probably punish us and zap frequencies for a while. And I mean, why did Joe say he wanted to have one of his, what do you call those Wi-Fi systems, a government Wi-Fi put in everyone's home? Why did they have a camera in everyone's TV? You might not even know, but there's a camera in your smart TV.
Yep.
It's there. I have mine covered up, shut off. The minute I covered it up, I started getting static. And I'll give you something else that was really funny before I leave. And this did happen. I swear to God on this. And maybe it's a fluke. We get all these things that happen. I'm out on my front porch, and I'm a little bit in the woods where I'm at. And suddenly, the weather's changing. It's that milky white, stupid. They sprayed the sky. And suddenly, my phone just starts going in and out and off and on and glitching and doing all this weird shit. And as soon as the wind stopped, my phone went back to normal. So these frequencies of 10G, now they call them 5, but they're actually what they call double boxes. They're double amplifiers. They're actually pushing 10Gs. And I think they're trying to smart check everybody. We have smart satellites up now watching our city in Pittsburgh. I can look up every night. People say, oh, that's a star. Yeah, right. I mean, it moves. It's up there, and it does move very, very slow. But it's a security satellite, and that's what it is. It's communicating with the drones that are flying over Pittsburgh.
Wow.
We are a mess.
They're watching you, Michael.
Truly are. It might be. I don't know. I mean, what can they really do to me? I don't know. I mean, so what?
Yeah.
Take your
I can't
birthday
stop
away.
it. I'm guilty as sin, right?
Yeah,
Jerry's guilty as sin.
Yeah.
Nick's guilty as sin. And my God, I can't believe Jen, you?
Jen? She's guilty more than anybody here.
I know she finds her way
But
into
yeah,
the guilt.
they'll just take your birthday
Whatever.
away, Michael. They'll just take
We're
your
gonna have to
birthday
go
away.
back to.
Stop.
We're gonna have to go back to the Dark Side Radio Network project.
But
Well,
I
No
read
faces, no faces, no faces. Just
Yeah.
just broadcast hosted by vibrating black auras.
Yeah, I read an article today that in October, I don't remember the date, 4th or 12th, somewhere around there, that it said the government's going to take control of your phone. Well, I've been seeing this shit.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
it's the yearly national
October 4th,
emergency
10-4 day. They're gonna do and everybody thought that's what
the
they were gonna
national
do.
emergency.
Yeah. Last year when they
system.
did it, everybody thought they were gonna it was the reset of the internet. They were gonna take it all away from us. And they didn't. And this year, I don't know, maybe they will.
Pay attention to 10-11 and watch Georgia.
Okay.
Yeah, that too.
Here's what I would like
Have
to
a
say.
good one.
For
Love
those
you.
of you, take care, Michael. For those of you who keep saying that Facebook is going to start charging us, stop doing that.
Yes.
Facebook is not going to charge
Please.
us. And that's as simple as that. This shit's been going on for years. I keep seeing this every 6-8 months, and everybody's out there, please copy and pay all this bullshit. Stop it. It's not going to happen.
I'm
Okay?
not
It's not going to
copying
fucking
and
happen.
pasting shit.
The-
I'm not going to copy
Yeah.
and
Right.
paste any goddamn
Right.
post. I might respond to it, but I'm not going to copy and paste it
I
to
know.
my wall
There was only one time
because it's
about
spam.
there was one time about a year ago where Facebook was actually talking about a gold check verification system like Twitter has the blue check system. And it was going to be about.
Dave. No one cares, Dave. Okay, it's not happening. That's the point. And I think that what we really need to do is start focusing on what the hell is right in front of us here. Okay, because none of it's good. And worrying about if you got to pay $4.99 for Facebook is ridiculous. Because Channel 4 or 22 or 33.5 fucking told us. We have some people out there that are incredibly fucking stupid and will believe any goddamn thing they see on Facebook. And it's got to stop, because I got to tell you, all you got to do is look to Washington, D.C. Every goddamn thing that's bad is there. Period. Everything that is bad is there. We got to start using our damn head.
Everything that says, if you don't do this and repost this, is total bullshit. It's absolute bullshit.
Did you guys hear what did anything happen to that rancher who shot the illegal that was coming? He felt threatened, so he shot the illegal in his front yard that was coming across the. He is.
He's being charged.
My God.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking of the plan that you had talked about earlier about just going to the border and say, don't come in or shoot them or just shoot them because they're at the border. And I thought, something interesting about that is they're not back to the Wizard of Oz, Dave. They, first you have the straw men and then you go to the Tin Man, and that stands for tax ID number. The people at the border and the illegals are just straw men. They don't have tax ID numbers. They don't even have birth certificates. So why is he being charged?
I'm going to tell you something. Here's what I'm going to tell you. I lived amongst these people, and I am telling you, one day they're there, and one day they're gone.
My God.
And you can... I've managed apartment buildings literally with these people where there's 5 or 6 in an apartment, and one day all the faces change. There's still 5 or 6 people in there. You just don't, and you got no idea. So what Jen just said about straw men and all that is
tax
completely true. Most of them work for cash. They get an envelope every week from the boss because they're making half of what an American worker would pay. They're not paying payroll taxes. They got to pay sales tax and stuff when they go to a store. All right. I mean, that's obvious, but they're not paying payroll taxes, yet they're getting Social Security and everything else. These people are like ghosts. And one day they're there, one day they're gone. And every single thing that the government tells us about so-called migrant workers, which is spelled wrong, it should be spelled the same way illegal aliens are, is a damn lie. A complete and total damned lie. And anybody, it's a little harder, I would imagine, to see it in a big city. although there's thousands more. But in a small town, you can definitely tell. I can go to the Walmart up here on Sunday around 12, 1 o'clock, and I guarantee you I can point out every one of them that's illegal just by how they walk, their body language, their they all they don't look you in the eye, none of it. Guarantee
They're
you I can, and I would be right.
they're in packs.
Yep.
Yep.
They travel in packs.
Yep.
Yep.
That's absolutely
The
true.
women travel in packs. The men travel in packs.
Yep.
You never see them together, so they're not akin to each other whatsoever. But
Right.
they're all illegal. And
My
like Jerry
gosh.
said, they won't look at you. They all speaking Spanish, and yeah, although they can speak English perfectly fine, believe me, they can.
Yes.
Yep. They can.
Yes.
Kind of
But
like
they
the
Absolutely.
don't. But they don't want you to know that they can.
kind of like the Vietnamese that go to the casinos and all these. They speak English perfectly fine. They might have an accent, but they act like they're stupid as shit and can't speak English. But you tell them something in English and you trick them, they answer you in English. You have to
Yep.
know how to do it.
Yep.
So yeah,
All
and
right,
then you
folks. We
Every
got
single thing every single thing you hear about illegal aliens from the Democrats, even some of the Republicans, is a damn lie.
Yep.
Okay, they do not help our economy. They bring it
Nope.
down. Okay, they steal jobs. And you know what? It's not just them who's at fault. Until you start putting some CEOs of these companies that are hiring them, say for it, the construction industry, anything that's got to do with slaughtering something for our food, anything like that. Until you start putting the CEOs of these companies in prison for hiring these people, it's going to continue because these are the same people that are out there paying the politicians to allow them in here so that they make more profit. It is that simple.
Yep.
It's all
We
a
have
damn lie.
we have a Mexican food store down here, and there's actually a school bus every day that drops these motherfuckers off. It parks in the parking lot, and they all go buy their Mexican food. All illegals. A school bus full. And that doesn't count the ones that rode their bikes over there or walked there. It's just all over the damn place around here.
My
Yeah,
gosh.
and where Nick lives, it's it's the same. You got slaughterhouses, you got crawfish farms and all that. Where I live, it's
That's where
mainly
they all
the
work.
agricultural. Yeah, the agricultural part where they're in here picking everybody's fruit and stuff.
Sweet potato
And
farms. That's all
we
they have.
have, if everybody says, well, if we don't let them in, then we won't eat. It's like bullshit. We have been using Mexicans and South Americans for I don't know how long to pick our fruits and vegetables and stuff. And they came here on a work visa and then they went the hell home. That's how it worked. Okay. And it worked perfectly fine. Okay. The problem is they're coming here now. They're not they're not going home. They actually live here
They
and they
stay.
show up by 30, 40, 50 of them, and they'll have your like say for instance here watermelon farm picked in literally a day and a half. Okay. And then they just go home to America. They have all the rights I have, they have everything I have, and well actually they have more.
They have my social
Okay,
security.
they have more.
I'm sure they
Yeah.
do.
They do. I went
do.
to the social security
do.
office. We made an appointment with my husband because they said, "Oh, well, you're kind of disabled right now, so you can't." It's just I'm struggling to walk. I'm fine. But it's due to a vaccination. But either way, I'm doing good. Anyhow, so I said, "Well, can I
A
cash in on this? Can I?"
vaccination.
Yeah, not the COVID.
No, not
This happened.
that one.
No,
Okay.
no, it was the one. You know, I
Oh,
talked
I
about it
remember
once
you told
before.
us.
Yeah, and
Yeah, I
Nick
remember you
said
told.
he said, "Oh, look out for that hepatitis C. That's a bad one." I'm like,
Oh, Hep
"That's the
C.
one."
That's not
Yeah.
good.
No, I
I have
couldn't.
Hep A and B vaccination. I was fine with that one. Hep C, that's not good one way or the other because you
It's
can't get rid of it.
It has some mercury thing up here, a mercury cloud, and they're like, you can't prove that cloudiness that you see on the MRI is from. It's a lesion, and they go, you can't prove it's from that. I go, well, it wasn't there until I got the shot, and I can't feel my right side. It's really difficult. So I'm going through physical therapy. I'm fine, but I tried to get some Social Security. I'm like, can you help me with this? And so we go to the Social Security office. We talk to this guy. Oh, compassionate as pie. This guy was talking to us, and he says the only way that will work is if I could get SSDI if we were to divorce, but we could still check up. Just don't
Yeah,
tell
Yeah.
anyone.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow,
yeah.
that would look weird to the kids. And
Well, we
so,
lived in Connecticut. That's what they did with
but
At one
the
no,
couple
point,
that was living
this
at one point,
downstairs.
Jen, my wife came to me and offered to divorce me so that we could get Social Security. Okay.
no, yeah.
I was so pissed off about hearing that. I was pissed off. I think about a week and a half about that, and I said, "Don't ever say those words to me again."
Yep.
And then they
And
win.
at the
So,
time, we were having major problems financially because she was out of work, I couldn't work, blah blah blah, and
so oh,
they
sorry.
won't give me mine because we taken hers, and it's they have the
You can't
system
get both?
rigged. I should be also getting disability from the military simply because that's where I ended. That's where I first got hurt at, and they won't give it to me.
My
Okay,
God.
and
So we get out of the
I believe it or
appointment.
not. I mean, I used to work like 15, 17 hours a day throughout my life. Like a lot of people do now, and you know, this is where I'm at. We make just enough money to where when we're done paying the bills, we got barely enough to buy groceries because, now because everything has gone up so much.
We get out of the appointment, and then it was an early appointment. I think it was like 8:30 or something. So it's probably about 1 by the time we got done talking to this guy who had such compassion, but said the best we could do was just divorce and shack up. And we're like, no. So we go into you have to go through the waiting room to go. And my God, that thing was full. And I'm thinking, it's 1 o'clock. Isn't it time? I didn't say it out loud, but I thought, isn't it time for their siesta? Because they were all Mexican. And it was, well, especially, now this was crazy. They were Mexican women sitting on the laps of white men, and there were some white women. It was so weird. And I'm like, this is crazy. These are the folks that are getting my Social Security. I can't get it. I worked. It was not a lot, but I worked from 2008 to no, go back to 1988 is when I started claiming, and that was like babysitting jobs and all the way through waitressing, all the way through school jobs where I was a teacher's assistant, and then back to waitressing. So that was 20 years. 88 to is that 20 years? 88 to 208. Yeah, and then we had Juju and our Julie, our last one, and I was like, I'm done. I can't. I'm just done. I'm like using a walker. I'm like, this is so crazy. So that's when we tried to file and we couldn't. It
Yeah.
was frustrating. But all
Yeah,
those
they also
folks,
have something called work credits. If you haven't worked in the past 5
yeah.
years and gained work credits, you don't even
Yes.
qualify.
That's what I was gonna
That's
say,
the fucking
Jared.
problem.
I've worked
You know
40
what? I
years of my
waited.
53 years of life. And if I don't work
Yeah.
in the next 5 years, I can't claim Social Security.
Yep. They go back 60 months.
That's right. You can't control. You can't get. You can't get SSDI or whatever the other one is.
SSI.
You know what, Jen? I finally got approved after about 8 months, and you know what they sent me? $270.
A
And we're
month?
supposed to live on that. Now, my wife is considerably more. I worked in a cash business, so naturally I took the cash up front. But the military should owe me money now and they won't give it to me. And even if they do, it's $110 a month,
My
you know.
gosh.
And
But it's yours.
I hate government welfare with a very great passion. I truly do. I have no use for government welfare, and that I'm on it. I feel ashamed about it. Okay, because that was never where this was going. I worked my
Mm.
ass off until I couldn't work anymore. I didn't, get hurt and then run out and say I need the government to take care of me. I kept going and I kept going and I kept going and I kept going. And one day I realized I just can't do this shit anymore. I can't.
I didn't
And nobody was
want
there
to.
anymore.
Yeah, I didn't
Nobody
want it
was
to
there.
look like I was asking the government for help. I was
Well,
kidding. I wanted
you're-
back
you're-
what I paid in.
Your
What
your
the heck?
SSDI isn't you asking for help.
Why can't we
when
get it back?
when it was created for people who didn't have workman's comp. So back when Roosevelt was president. So if you got injured and you didn't have any income, you got some of your
It's
Social
disability.
Security disability while you weren't working.
Yeah.
Then you went back to work. Then at some point, the government just decided you're on it now. You go until 65, and at 65, it's like for me, I get about 80% of what I would get on Social Security right now on SSDI. At 65, I'll get that 20% back, and I'll get Social Security forever if I'm still around. Who knows? Because of this
Forever, right?
But
Till they say no.
and then what they did with me to keep me on it was they decided that I'm permanently disabled because of this. I'm unemployable. So now that's where they put me. I'll be the first one to tell you. No. I'm not driving anymore, but everything I did in the transportation business, I can still sit down at this desk and do about 75% of how I did it before, except I can't drive anymore. So, I mean,
Right.
maybe
All
we
I
need to
know
go.
is when I see
Maybe we need to go
people
back
screaming
to
about
that.
going on. All I know is seeing these people screaming about how can these people be on this and that. After the initial like "fuck you," I got no choice. I realized, they're right, because that's exactly what I used to say when I was out there sweating my ass off, working my ass off. Okay, I mean, and then I said a lot more too, because there was never a time when I was younger than I am now, but where I didn't have a job.
Right.
Okay, and I was very proud of the fact that I worked as any working person is. I would think that you managed to make it through, especially now with the way things are. But you're proud of the fact that you work, and I get that, and I don't think that other people should pay my way. It's just whenever I've had to do that, it eats at me.
Yeah.
And every
Right.
month it eats at me, because what the government actually does is they send you the money, but they send you just enough to keep you below the poverty line
Right.
and dependent on them.
Mhm.
And I think
And
that's
we're
what annoys me the most.
wow.
That's what they do.
It's
But Social
crazy.
Security is not somebody else giving you money. It's
Right.
you getting your own shit
It's you
back.
getting your own money.
Actually, Social Security is exactly that. Because if you think about it, it's like insurance. The healthy always pay for the sick. Because what I paid into Social Security, whatever, is I've gotten way more out of that since then. Okay, and the government's supposed to put in a certain amount. You put in, whatever, but the government doesn't put in any amount. Other taxpayers and people who work and so forth, they put the money into the Social Security. And one of the
Your
problems
employer
is that the
matches.
government just takes the Social Security and spends it on whatever the hell they
Right.
want to spend it
If,
on. And that's a major
if
problem.
you ask Bill Muckler, he'll tell you in his book where he put it that there's no such thing as you having an account with the Social Security Administration where your money went.
No,
There's
That's
no
true.
account. If you ask Bill Buckler, and
Right,
he
right.
said it on broadcast before, that
There used to be.
there used to be, but now
There used to be an
everything.
account for that. And
Right.
Johnson came in and they switched it into a general account, which
Right.
means they can use it for whatever the fuck they want to use.
Right.
Now
It
it's
all
all
goes in,
IOU.
right. It all goes into the general. It all goes into the general coffers, and they do whatever the hell they want with it. And when I get a check or you get a check from Social Security, that's where it comes from. But unfortunately, guys, it's
it's that time.
a couple minutes after 9, and I have to turn the lights off so that my lovely wife can go to sleep because she has to
Save
work
electricity.
long before I have to get out of bed in the morning. I'm surprised the light made it without flickering. But
Well, thanks,
So-
guys. That was fun.
so
Thank
I'm
you.
glad you came. We had a good time. Next Tuesday, maybe we'll all do it again if you're around. And let's see, tomorrow is Friday, so everybody who watched, make sure you're downstairs on the American Rebellion blogger page. Tomorrow night at 7 p.m. with Jerry and Nikki and Jen. I don't know if I will be there or I'll either be watching or I'll be on it. Lately with the dogs right now, it's kind of iffy.
It was awful.
Well, they want to be on. The only problem is I keep telling them they're not members of the union, but they keep trying anyway.
That's why they're
Dave,
barking so
all
much.
you gotta do, Dave, is just turn the mic off when you're not talking. That's all. It's not a big deal. Okay, it's not a big deal.
Okay. There must be a green light out in the living room then, because as soon as I turn my mic on, they start barking.
They're like,
No,
no.
that green light, Dave, is not that. That green light is there for whenever you finally get your ass comfortable, your wife knows it and then makes you go do something. I'm convinced of this because this is what happens in my house damn near every day.
Well, if my wife, if Donna wanted me to do something, she'd just get up and knock the Chromebook out of my face. I'd go do it. No,
What the hand say?
I thank my wife because my wife puts up with the fact that I'm sitting in this corner of the bedroom with the light on, and it's 9 o'clock at night. And she has to be up at 6 o'clock in the morning
Okay,
because she's working
turn off
early.
Dave, you can
this
turn
week.
off the light. You can turn off the light, Dave. It's not like you look bad, okay? You already look bad in the light. We all do. Except
You
Jen
look like
says, of
shit
course.
anyway. It doesn't matter.
I didn't like doing
and-
it in the
and
dark. I
Richard-
went back and watched some of them lately, and it looked like I was doing a Wizard of Oz imitation.
Okay, here's the number one rule, Dave. Never go back and watch any of them, number one.
I know.
Never do that. That's that's stupid. And secondly, it doesn't fucking matter. Dave,
Okay.
it doesn't matter. I cannot implore upon you enough how little that it matters how you look on video, okay? I cannot.
You look great.
Doesn't
Good
matter.
night, guys.
You do whatever you want, but when the book starts flying at your head from your wife, I guarantee you start turning the light off and be happy.
Yeah. Yes. We don't want to. Well, actually, keep the light on. We want to see the blood. Depending on how hard she is, or she shows up with a knife, and I mean, we need video.
Here, Dave.
All right, Jerry. Say goodnight,
Anyway,
Jerry.
Dave, thank you.
It's always
Thank
a pleasure,
you, Dave. I
Jerry.
appreciate it.
I'm glad you
I'm going to be
came.
thinking about this one for a while. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay.
Take care.
All right, Jerry. Nikki.
One more time.
Wait a minute. And hey, Nikki, did I tell you that the nice thing about the Boogie with the Bull mug when it drinks tea, it's really a bipartisan mug. You can hold it in your left hand and show everybody that you're a left-wing socialist wingnut. Then you can hold it in your right hand and everybody knows you're a conservative patriot.
See how crazy that is?
Thank Jen Woodruff for that. She designed the mug.
Yeah, that's funny how that works. Yeah, that handle just switches around.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. There's no additional charge.
Crazy.
And if you buy a bag of tea for $20 more, you can have a mug.
That's right.
All right, Nikki.
All right, Dave.
I think the word to you is bonsoir.
Bonsoir. Mon frere.
All right.
Yeah.
Parachutes to go now. All right. Let's see. We had Jen Woodruff came by, the homeschooling mom. Michael Anthony came in. Nikki Young. Jerry Michaels from the American Rebellion. Like I said, downstairs tomorrow at 7 p.m. Go to the American Rebellion blogger page, and you can watch the American Rebellion. Nikki, Jen, and Jerry are all part of that. They'll be there. I may or may not be there. I'll probably watch it. Lately, it's kind of hard with dogs and other things going on to do the 7 p.m. So we may go back to doing them during the day, around 10 o'clock in the morning. I don't know. The dogs seem to be sleeping then, but I don't really know. Hey, Jolene, good night. Thank you for watching Wendy Rhodes. Always a pleasure. I watch the reruns when I'm doing genealogy, like right now. Oh, okay. Well, I had to watch that one particular rerun because it was something that I had to take care of, and I had to look at and make sure it was taken care of. So that's the only reason why I was watching. I don't like doing them in the dark, and I was doing them in the dark. Trying to look for a desk lamp that will give more light on the desk, and then the big light can be shut off. But it doesn't matter. Jerry's right. I'm ugly with the lights off, and I'm ugly with the lights on. And it used to be more fun when it was just my voice coming over a radio. But anyway, I'm Dave Wogan. You're not. Let me kick this back on. And double beats for victories that we're going to come to an end right about now. And hey, Larry, I wasn't upset with the comment before. So it was just looking at the screen and where it said, how does that statement make you feel? I don't know. You know, I'm 61, and for 61 years, I've listened to people say different things about Jews and when they came into this country or what they've done while they're here. And, you know, like I said, I've been Jewish for 61 years, consider myself professional. I went pro when I was 13. And, you know, it works for me. And like Michael said, you know, you are what you are, and that's what you are. And, you know, as I like to say, Facebook user, you are watching in the Boogie with the Bull True Patriot Talk group. What you need to do before you watch on Tuesday, go to StreamYard.com/Facebook, scroll about halfway down the page, click on Give Permission, and you will give permission so that anytime you're watching a StreamYard broadcast on Facebook, it will show your name and your profile picture and not just have the Facebook user. Makes it easier for a broadcaster using StreamYard to see who you are when they put your comments up on the screen. In the Dave Wogan profile live chat, your comments do not go on the screen because StreamYard or Facebook doesn't allow that. So that's why you see me looking over to my left all the time to read the comments that are going on in there. So Jolene, thank you. Randy Rhodes, always a pleasure. Nikki, you were on the broadcast. David Bray, a pleasure to have you pop in at the last minute. Wyatt Fitzwater was watching. Let me scroll back. Janie Davidson popped in for a little bit. Always a pleasure to have you watching. Scott Halsey pops in now and then. And I think that's just about it. Karen Hackley, my buddy down in Texas. She watches when she can, when we're live, and she comments. And if she can't watch when we're live, she always watches the podcast and even tells me if I did things I did things wrong during the broadcast this week. Dr. Craig Peterson was in the house. Always a pleasure to have you. And one of these days, Craig, I want to get you on. We've talked about things in your background before that would be interesting to discuss on a broadcast. And let me scroll back. Aaron Leon Barton, my partner in crime with Americans for Free Speech, was going to pop on. I'm not sure exactly what happened. He's in California, so we're 3-hour delay, and we don't know. William Graham pops in. He was watching it in the Boogie with the Bull True Patriot Talk group here on Facebook. You can also watch on my profile here on Facebook. You can go to the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel, and you can watch there. If you want to share the broadcast off of Facebook, if you think that's something that you want to do, I would prefer you go to the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel and share it from there. Don't share it from Facebook Watch. But that's just my preference. Before we finally go, the groups, American Regulators, Conservative Freedom Defenders, Red Patriots for America, the Hardcore Conservatives group, those are the private groups. The public groups are Boogie with the Bull, True Patriot Talk, MAGA News Nation, the United Media Group Uncensored, the United Media Group Uncensored, with Roland Hatton, Randy Grease, and myself. Those are the groups that you should watch. A lot of other ones. If you're an admin of a conservative patriot group and you want to get plugged on the broadcast, just message me who you are, what your group is, and we will include it as a group people should be on. Over on Gab, over on Streetlock, over on Truth Social, over on, there's one of them, Gab. Yeah, over on MeWe, over on Gab, over on Truth Social, and Streetlock. There are Boogie with the Bull groups that are in the process of being reformatted and or launched for the first time. So if you're getting tired of Facebook, go over and post things in those groups. You see me talking about the Gab group every day because we're trying to just jumpstart that. We launched it 2 years ago. We had someone who I thought was adminning it for us and found out 2 years later that they haven't really done anything. So we're over there. Arch Kennedy, who you see here on Facebook, is over there a lot. So go over and take a look. Anyway, you've been watching Boogie with the Bull Uncensored Thursday, September 14th, 2023, a copyrighted presentation of the No Budget Broadcasting Company. We own everything associated with the broadcast. If you want to take it and use it, take it and use it. We don't do copyright violations, but if you're keeping score, Viral DRM-Mike Smith evidently sent me an email this morning that said, basically, they're considering the matter closed. I guess because I wouldn't give them the information that they needed. They wanted me to basically admit guilt to something, and they couldn't tell me what it was they wanted me to admit guilt to. So I just left it. And then, like I said, today they finally wrote me an email that said they are considering it content removed, and they closed the case. So I don't know whether or not Facebook will have removed whatever their copyrighted content was and repost the August 15th broadcast of Boogie with the Bull, and or whether or not they won't. I personally hope they won't. If anybody wants to see the broadcast, I have it, and I can make arrangements for you to get it if you really need to see it. But anyway, if you're the little guy and you get nailed all the time for things that you really didn't do, and everybody knows that you didn't do, sometimes you stand up for yourself, and sometimes you win, and sometimes you lose. Anyway, it's time to go to bed. So double B's for victory. This Boogie with a Bull broadcast is coming to an end. We'll slide right down here.